What's up, guys? It has been a hot minute, let me tell you. Gosh, I've been so busy. I have 2 jobs now, so I'm just going back to back with those jobs. And I haven't had any time to do any videos. And for that, I have a lot to catch up on because I'm still been reading, which is crazy. How do I have time to read? I don't even know. I make time. So today is a mashup, I guess you could say, of a couple different topics. We're going to be talking about my current TBR. There's some books in the back you can see. Those are on my TBR. And we're going to be talking about some not so recent and some recent reads. Does that make sense? I don't know. There was a lot more than I thought. So I'm just going to go through them quickly, tell you what I liked about them, what I didn't like, just a couple points each book, so this video is not so long. I'm mashing these 2 topics up because I just don't have a lot of time anymore, so we're just gonna do 2 videos in one. And because it's been so long, we're gonna first talk about my book of the week. Are you ready? Let's talk about it. Okay, I just finished this book. I would want to say a few days ago, and I've been waiting to buy the second book, which I have, and that book is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This book was phenomenal, crazy, so many twists, a really, really unique, like, dystopian take on the world and what it's become, and I had to mention it, even though this book was published, I think, a couple years back now. It still holds up true, and it's so amazing, and, like, it's really scary that, like, this world in this book could easily become ours with the right circumstances. And so if you guys haven't read this, which I'd be surprised, please pick it up. I'm on book number 2 now, which is Thunderhead. We'll be talking about that in a second. And I just want to give this a big shout out. Thank you, Neil Shusterman, for giving us this trilogy, because I've only read this one, but I know I'm gonna love the next 2. Okay, what should we talk about first? Should we talk about my TBR or should we talk about recent reads? I feel like we should talk about some recent reads. Let's go. Okay. So, the first recent read is a duology. I don't have physical copies. I read it on Kindle, so I will post it right here. And that is the Full Tilt duology by Emma Scott. This was a good duology, solid. I didn't really like the second book as much, but I think that's just because I hated how the first book ended, and I just carried on to that. But whatever, it was still pretty good. It was really solid. You guys should check it out. It's like a contemporary romance. Like, they're not so old. I would say maybe new adult, because they're not like, they're like mid-20s. But like, it's really good, you guys. You should check it out. Next is a book that I randomly bought and read because it was like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I was like, sure, why not? There's been a few of those that I haven't really enjoyed. This one I did enjoy. I didn't love it, but it was still pretty good, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget. Oh my god, why do I always drop books? Okay, I just know that I'm not going to be able to say this author's last name because there's too many R's and I have a speech impediment. So, A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemamir. I'm so sorry, Bridget. I cannot say your last name. But it was excellent. I thought it was a really good retelling, and I really like how the end of the book ended, because it wasn't a typical ending of a fairy tale, and I really, really thought that was a good twist, and it made it a lot more exciting. This is also, there's also a sequel that came out. What is the name? I don't remember, but I'll post a picture right now for you. It just came out, so I will probably pick up that a little later. I'm not like too invested in it. I think I'll probably wait another year until it's like a paperback, or pick it up at my library. We'll see, I don't know. But still, it was a great retelling and I really enjoyed it. Next, you guys, you'll be surprised I read some stuff that was on my TBR last month. But just a couple things, not everything. I had been waiting for this one for a while, because I wanted to read the audiobook, but I didn't want to pay 25 freaking bucks for it. So my friend actually gave me a credit, and she let me get this book, and that was, what was it? sorry, Sadie by Courtney Summers. Oh my god. There are so many things I could say about this book, and I don't have time in this video. This gripped me from page one. I couldn't put it down. I read the book while listening to the audio, and that is the way to go. Trust me, it is fantastic. I never read audiobooks. I never listen to audiobooks ever, but like, wow, this one was phenomenal. I loved everything about the story except the ending. And actually, Courtney Summers retweeted my tweet on Twitter about how I felt about this ending, because this has an open ending. There is no definite conclusion to what happens, and those kind of endings drive me crazy, you guys. I hate open endings. I don't care if the end is good, bad, if I hate it or not. I just wanted an ending. But she replied and she said open endings are kind of her jam. That's her writing style. That's just what she does. And I totally appreciate that. I totally understand. Every writer has their own style. And so I get it, but also I hated it. But only for that reason. You guys, even if you hate open endings, pick this up. It's fantastic and it's chilling. Whew, it gives me the chills just talking about it. This is a good young adult, like, thriller. Not a thriller, more like a mystery / crime. Just like, oh, it was really good. You guys, pick this up, please. Okay, next is another book that I was waiting for the audiobook to kind of lower its price, and so I could read it along while listening, and that was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book, I feel like everyone knows about now and everyone's read it, and if you haven't, then wow, I'm shocked. I have mixed feelings about this book. I don't know, I wanted to love it more than I loved it, and I think that's the biggest drawback. It's hard to explain. I just have mixed feelings. I didn't like how the story went. Also, the audiobook promised me that it was going to let me listen to one of the songs featured in this book, and it didn't let me listen to a song. There was no song at the end. Like, there was nothing. It was just the title, the end credit music, and I was like, that sucks. So that was another drawback. There was some really good parts in here, and some parts that were kind of just like stereotypical, but I didn't hate it. I don't really know what else to say. I was just kind of disappointed. I think I went into this with high expectations, and that was wrong. And whenever I do that, I end up not liking the book as much, and I think that's what happened. But still, I really still feel like you guys should pick it up. I still recommend it because it is a good story about rock stars and that kind of world, and I did enjoy it in that aspect. Okay, next is a book that I literally just finished last night, and I bought it that day, yesterday, because I saw it in stores and I knew it came out like a week or two ago. I couldn't buy it then, and I had been dying for it, and that is The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare. This is the Elder Curses series number 2, which mainly features Alec and Magnus and their life. This does have key characters from the Mortal Instrument series, like Clary, Jace, Isabel, Simon, all that stuff. But it is very like Magnus and Alec heavy, and you guys, Malik is my favorite character in all the series that she's done, all the trilogies. Just, they're my favorite. Like, they've overcome so much, and they really, really love each other, and they're a great team. And now they have a son, Max, and Max is featured in this, and I love Max. He's so cute, and their relationship is just like everything anyone would dream of, even though it has its hardships, of course. They're just so supportive of each other, and this was another great addition to Cassandra Clare's whole Shadowhunter universe. The only drawback I have with this is the design of the books, because the paperback for this book it matches kind of like the real figures. I'll show you right here, paperback. See, it like matches. But they don't have the first book in hardcover with this cover. It's this cover, so they don't match, and that's really annoying to me because I love both these covers. Sorry, this is the first book. I love these both. I loved this one because it was different from any other of her other series. If you guys know Cassandra Clare books, you know that all her books have like a character featured or just a really cool design. Sorry, I have so many of them, so I just want to show you. And I like this one because it sets Alec and Magnus apart, and they have their own illustration. And then when they came out with the paperback, it was different, of like how I showed you. And then they came out with the hardback, which matches the paperback, but not of the first one. Do you see how that can be a little bit annoying? Yeah, so I have no drawbacks to the book itself. I just have a big issue with the design, because if they followed through with the second book having a illustration like this, I would have been so for it, and vice versa. If the first book hardback was kind of like this, it'd be great. So like, I love them both, but they don't match, and that's the problem I have with that. Okay, these next two are some not so recent reads, meaning this next one I read probably a month ago. I just haven't had time to post it. And the second book that I'm going to mention I read like 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So these are not so recent reads. The first one is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This is a good young adult story about two male characters who fall in love, but one of them is Mormon and one of them is not, but he moved to Utah, and it kind of forces him back in the closet. I was really excited to read this book because I'm from Utah. I recognized every single landmark in here. They talk about Provo, Utah, which is where I was born and I grew up. I'm not in Provo, Utah anymore, but I'm still in Utah. I don't want to say where, but I was really interested because of that aspect and because of the Mormon aspect. I grew up Mormon, LDS, and I'm not anymore. I left the church quite a while ago, 10, 11 years now, and I just was really interested in how Christina Lauren would represent the church. Now, I don't know if Christina or Lauren are LDS. I tried to figure it out. I know, I think it's Christina that lives in Utah, but there was no information about them really on their website, so I don't know. I can't really say, but they did a really, really excellent job of representing the LDS religion. On that note, what I didn't like about it is it was really LDS heavy. See how many post-it notes I have? Yeah, that's how many times and more, I didn't mark them all, of how much the LDS church was talked about. Now, I get it when you have a main character who's LDS trying to figure out his sexuality and that kind of dynamic, but I wish they would have focused a little bit more on the relationship as two guys. It's just them, you know, instead of the Mormon church. It was kind of just a little Mormon heavy. And some of the stuff I didn't, that they spoke about in the Mormon church wasn't accurate to what I grew up with. Of course, everyone has their own experiences, and anyone who's ever left the church has their own reasons behind it, as do I. But sometimes I just felt like the explanations weren't quite represented as well as they should be. I guess what I'm trying to say. Either way, I think this was still like a really cute story about two guys just trying to find who they are in the midst of religion and their cultures and what is expected of them in that religion in that way. And it was still really cute, and I did appreciate what Christina and Lauren were trying to do with the LDS Church. And the last book that I'm going to mention on my not so recent reads is a book I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway. I never received an email, a note, or anything when I got this book in the mail, so I was super confused. I didn't remember for like the longest time how HarperCollins got my email address, my mailing address. I had no idea, and it took me a long time to figure out that it was actually a Goodreads contest that I won, and they sent me a book. But still, I'm still confused because, like, they didn't send me a note in the package. They didn't send me an email. I just got it in the mail one day. And that is Nobody Knows But You by Annika Morose Risi. I'm sorry, I said that name wrong. I'm so sorry, Annika. But this was an advanced reader's edition. I read it before it came out. That was super exciting for me. I never have the opportunity to read books before they're released, and I really, really enjoyed this, guys. Like, totally honest. This is like a thriller / crime where you're immersed in this world and that you really sympathize with the main character who's talking. And then at the end, there's this huge twist, and you figure out that she's really not who she says she is. And it was like, holy crap. So, big shout out to Annika, and Goodreads and HarperCollins for sending me this book early. Thanks for picking me as your winner. I'm so confused because I never got a note, but I really appreciated it, and I thought this was a great, perfect YA crime thriller that I can totally get behind any day of the week, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Okay, guys, are you ready for part 2? Part 2 is my current TBR. Now, thinking about this now and laying down all these books on my bed, I didn't think I had so many. But I do. So because this video is already dragging on, I'm going to go through them quickly. No particular order. Let's just get started. Okay, and showing up again that I haven't read, still, that's been on my bookshelf for a year now. Yeah, it has. Is the Renegades Trilogy by Marissa Mayer. I have all 3 books in hardback that I bought off of Amazon, and I haven't read them yet. What is wrong with me? I've talked about these books before. I'm not even gonna go over them. I just need to step it up and freaking read them already. Okay, next 2 books. I actually started reading them today. Actually, I started to read one yesterday. I only got a chapter through, and then not because I hated it, but because my life is busy. And the second book I got today, and I started reading it, and I love it so far, and I was so happy this book was made. But let's talk about the first book. Alright, the first book I have started to read already is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. Now, I just talked about Scythe being my book of the week. This is number 2 of the trilogy of Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and already it's so good. I read 1, maybe 2 chapters. I think I read 2. Either way, I loved it so far. But then I went to the bookstore today intending to sit down and read this with a coffee, and I found this, Speak, the graphic novel by Lori Howes Anderson. You guys, I don't know what it is with me and graphic novels this year, but I've really, really been into them. And I did read Speak a long time ago. It came out in the 90s, I believe, is what she said. So obviously I didn't read it when it came out because I was born in 96. But I did read it a hot minute ago in high school, and when I saw the graphic novel, like, I really just think it came out not even a week ago. I had to get it because I am loving graphic novels right now, and this is like absolutely beautiful, and like, oh, I thought it was green, but like the lettering is green, you guys, and like graphic novel form. So I started reading this. I'm already a little bit into it already, you can see. Love it so far. When I read this in high school, I remember it being like super empowering to me. Even though I've never dealt with issues this character has dealt with, I'm totally for female empowerment, or any empowerment really, to find your voice no matter what your gender, who you are. Find your voice and speak your truth, and I really am all for that. And this is the perfect book to get into with that, and I'm just really excited to read the graphic novel version. Okay, these next books have been on my TBR for a few months now. What is wrong with me? I don't know. So we're just gonna go quickly through them because yeah. I've already talked about them. So I have Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is a contemporary romance, adult contemporary romance. I really want to read it. Why I haven't, I don't know. Too many books in the world, okay? Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I want to read this book so bad. Again, too many books in this world. I cannot keep up. And Ember and the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. Again, what's wrong with me? I don't know. And the last not so recent TBR is The Diviners by Libba Bray. And when I was in Washington about a month ago, I bought the second one, Lair of Dreams, even though I haven't read the first book. So, is there a problem with me? Do I just love buying books? Yeah, I do. I love buying books and then end up not reading them. It's a problem, but I couldn't resist. I also bought this in like a local bookshop, and I kind of just really wanted to support them because with this whole COVID thing, I'm sure they lost money and didn't get any customers, and I'm a sucker for supporting bookshops everywhere, no matter what, like how small or how big. Like, yeah, I just really wanted to support them. This next one, is a book that my grandma gave me. And I honestly wasn't planning to keep it because the books she gave me, I love you, Grandma, but they're not really my style or the kind of subject I read. But I thought I'd give this one a shot because I kind of like the synopsis, and it's kind of older. It was published in 2013, and that is A Hot Shot by Julie Garwood. As you can see, this looks like a typical like mass market romance, you know, with the hot guy on the cover. This is really an outdated cover, but the story sounds really good, and I just thought I'd give it a shot. I don't know when I'm gonna read this, you guys, but I'm gonna read it, and I'll get back to you of what my feelings and thoughts are about this book. I just thought it was so funny that my grandma had this book in her library. I have 2 more books here. See, this wasn't that bad. This one I just bought today, as well as the Speak graphic novel, and I had been eyeing it for a hot minute, actually, because I just really liked the cover, and I hadn't bought it yet, but I decided to buy it now, and that is Suicide Notes by Michael Thomas Ford. He also wrote, I believe, Love and Curse, what's it called? Love and Other Curses. Yeah, Love and Other Curses. I hadn't read that one, but I thought I'd give this one a shot because this feels like a witty, you know, teenage angst book, and I'm just really excited to read this. I will let you guys know what I think about this book. It looks like an easy book to just get through and just read in a day, so that's my plan. Next book I picked up just wholly at random. I just really liked the cover. I briefly skimmed the synopsis. I don't even remember what it's about, but I just really liked it, and like, it's a really beautiful cover, and I just couldn't resist, so I just bought it. And that is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I'm sorry if I said that name wrong. You know me, I can never say last names right. I guess this is about 2 people connecting through text messages, like, only. And that's about all I know about it. Okay, guys, that's it. That is this video. I had so much fun talking about books, of course, like always, and I had fun filming this. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye. Also, if any of you are interested in what I'm currently reading, or what I have on my TBR at the moment, or on my want list, you can check that out on Goodreads. My link is in the description. Just check it out. Go to my profile. You can see what I've read. I have over 700 books on my read list from 10 plus years, so always check that out. But just giving that a quick shout out if you wanted to check out my Goodreads.